Mm-mm-mm. Interesting. What did this Queen of Swords say? They're trying to cover it up now, okay? And again, this definitely has to do with somebody's position here. Okay, it could have been a niece. You could be the niece. Take it how it resonates. Okay. Yeah, stress, press, and obsess over your strength here. Okay. Because now I'm getting it, you know, this has a lot to do with the turnaround here, okay? Somebody here, like, they thought that you were going to be in a certain position for the rest of your life, okay? Something like that. Yeah, and whatever they did, they can't go back on it. Permanent actions and decisions based off a lie. Because something is looking crazy. Whoever they painted you to be with this lie, it's not adding up here, okay? Somebody here, like, they thought that you were going to be in a certain position for the rest of your life.
Oh, really?
Okay? Something like that. Yeah, and whatever they did, they can't go back on it. Permanent actions and decisions based off a lie. Because something is looking crazy. Whoever they painted you to be with this lie, it's not adding up here, okay?
Lying ass hoses. Some lying ass hoses.
Major lie in the past, but now since you've had this significant glow up, okay, upgrade, they really look crazy. 33.
They is crazy. They stupid. They're retarded.
Somebody hired a practitioner here. Okay.
They dumb as hell.
Because it landed on strength. Okay. To take your power, to like dumb you down. I'm hearing docile here. Okay. Yeah, whoever this is, they were intimidated of you. A niece, okay, they're coming up as the Queen of Swords in the reverse. They were intimidated of you. Somebody didn't want you to make a certain.
Her damn mama ain't shit. Her mama ain't shit.
So they called a friend.
Her mama ain't never been shit. Never.
Somebody here, they did not want you to be in another like tax bracket here. Okay, like somebody again with that assessing energy. Somebody was always in your business. Like,
yeah, she always been in my damn business with her big ass.
And when they felt as though
greedy ass,
you were like
greedy ass
with them, are you about to pass them? This is what they did behind the scenes here. Okay? They even called somebody here. This could even be about money that was supposed to be given to you here. Okay? They called somebody to block you.
They don't know God's watching them.
I'm getting spiritual, like for some of you guys, this is a practitioner here. Somebody went to a worker, a conjurer here, but I'm definitely getting somebody in the 3D here, okay? Soldier. This is this niece, this person is a thief, okay? Somebody could be in the armed forces here. This is someone who has always had a lot to say, you know? It's like somebody paying a practitioner to cause a job loss, okay? Cause a lack. This niece, this person is a thief, okay? Somebody could be in the armed forces here. This is someone who has always had a lot to say, you know? It's like somebody paying a practitioner to cause a job loss, okay? Cause a lack of stability. And then they're talking about you as if you're a failure, but they're not saying about what they're doing to compete and try to keep their foot on your neck. This is this energy here. Child, I know you lied. This person is a stubborn enemy here, okay? Like coward ass energy here. Somebody could be a teacher. Somebody could be a teacher. John, please, no hard feelings, walked away gracefully, at peace you live and you learn. They didn't like that, okay? For some of you guys, you could have left an offer on the table and that wasn't even good enough. This person is petty. They're petty, they're very immature. Like this is the top of it. You can't walk away from them gracefully here because they need an argument. They need a back and forth, okay? They need a mudslinging contest here, okay? That's for somebody like you left an offer on the table here, all right? Whoever this person is, they can't walk away gracefully from anything because they don't have any grace here, okay? Somebody is really low vibrational here. Somebody could be a teacher. Child, I don't know you ever lying. You could be the teacher, take it out, resonates. Child, I know you fucking lying. There's too much coming out here. Okay, it's too much coming out here. Somebody could teach at a church. This could be a Bible study teacher, something like that. Or this person, somebody is cloaked. They're cloaked, okay? Teacher and church member, this person is cloaked as being a pillar in the community. Bullshit. All right? A Bible study teacher, something like that. Or this person, somebody is cloaked. They're cloaked, okay? Is cloaked as being a pillar in the community. Bullshit. All right? This person has no grace, okay? They have no compassion, and they're not being shown any mercy. Help, new beginning, no. No. Child. Somebody committed some type of white collar crime here in this workplace here against you, okay? To take something from you or to manipulate a situation here. Somebody stole something from you. They took something from you here. Let me tell you, this person is obsessed. Let's say, for instance, I'm not saying that you're doing this. Even if you were aware that somebody stole something from you and you're like, okay, that's fine. You can have it. I don't want anything to do with you. This person would still be getting in your energy here. This could be like a past life grudge here, okay? It's not the money, it's you. They have an issue with you. Like they can't keep calm, they can't sit still, right? Because somebody, the Spirit is saying that they couldn't walk away gracefully here from abundance. Somebody couldn't breathe. When they found out that something was yours, something was left to you, something was being given to you, okay? For some of you guys, this doesn't have anything to do with inheritance or, something that was left. This could be like somebody who was getting readings on you way back when and found out that you were about to get a promotion or a job. Like they can't relax. I don't know how they got like this here. For some of you guys, this could be like a sister or a cousin, but I'm getting an energy where there has been, it could even be like an elder, like somebody, there's something going on with this person competing with you on a soul level. It's so personal to them, all right? It's sad. It's sad. For some of you guys, it's like a sister and a parent, a karmic parent. They started this shit, like this competition, putting you guys against each other, and now you have this sibling that they can't live their life. The only way they can be happy or live their life if you are like down and out. That's the only way. It's so personal to them, all right? It's sad. It's sad. Child. A parent, a karmic parent, they started this shit, like this competition, putting you guys against each other, and now you have this sibling that they can't live their life. The only way they can be happy or live their life if you are like down and out. That's the only way. The only way they can be happy or live their life if you are like down and out. Now that's not happening. Child, this person here, they did something. They're trying to cover this up, what they did, okay?
These people wanted you to be an unnecessary drama every day, all day. They didn't care if you had high blood pressure. They didn't care if you were sickly. They didn't care if you got sick from the situation because they constantly wanted to put you in the drama. This situation needs no more of your attention. No more of it. Whether it's family drama, whether it's gossip, if it's not gossip or somebody just trying to put you in the middle of some mess just to make you look like the bad guy, God is saying it doesn't need no more of your attention at this time. You are way too good of a person to allow people to tug on your energy and bring you down. That's what these people are trying to do. You're trying to lift them up to your level, and they're bringing you down to theirs.
Well, that's not going to happen. You are too low vibrational. You're dumb. You're ignorant. You don't want any knowledge. You're satisfied dumbness. And I don't care for you, okay? So just stay away from me. You've never done anything to help me my entire life. So stay away from me. I don't need you in my life. I have me a new family, okay? People with sense that's not so damn demonic, all right? Y'all too damn demonic and dark for me. Just evil people. Just plump damn evil. And shout, hallelujah. Thank God, Jesus. Thank God, Jesus. Thank you, Joint European State Unionship for making me a slave. Thank you, Joint. Thank you, Joint European Slave Unionship for making me a slave. Let's go eat some fried chicken. I can't fit in that booth. They need to make some bigger booth for bigger people. They make these booths for little bitty people. They all know that people ain't that little no more.
You are way too good of a person to allow people to tug on your energy and bring you down. That's what these people are trying to do. You're trying to lift them up to your level, and they're bringing you down to theirs. That's what these people are trying to do. You're trying to lift them up to your level, and they're bringing you down to theirs. And you're constantly in a cycle of a roller coaster cycle of emotions going back and forth, drama, chaos, toxic energy with these people because they stirred up the confusion. And then they thought to keep stirring up the confusion and that you was just going to say okay and keep dealing with it. The moment you said no more and you cut these people off, you turn the lights out, you became better. Not only did you become better, you stopped entertaining drama after the situation with these people. See, the drama that they want to put into your life, it was enough to get you put in jail, run you crazy, put you in a psychiatric institute, or do worse. That's what the drama was about. See, you're dealing with a lot of envy and jealousy coming from people. God was elevating you up in life, and people wanted to bring you down and keep you stagnant. They don't want you elevating and rising because they had crabs in the barrel mentality. They didn't want you getting to the next level that God wanted you to get to because they thought they were so much better than you. They thought you was supposed to be in that low place forever, never to rise up again. And the moment you cut them off, you got your peace. Your peace came back mysteriously. And then you started to say, what did I do to deserve that type of treatment? You didn't deserve any of it. And you didn't do nothing to deserve that type of treatment that these people want to put you in. Truth of the matter is that you was dealing with a lot of cold-hearted people that just didn't care about your feelings and emotions. They was only worried about theirs. And because you were mature, and because you decided to take a step back from the situation, you realized that these people were a problem and that they were bringing unnecessary problems into your life, dealing with them. Whatever demonic spirits they carried on them, whatever toxic energy they carried, whatever mental problems that they had going on mentally that had nothing to do with you, they always found a reason to try to take it out on you. These people had hateful spirits. It was hateful.
Hateful ain't the word. Just plumb damn evil. Evil.
And because you decided to take a step back from the situation, you realized that these people were a problem and that they were bringing unnecessary problems into your life, dealing with them. Whatever demonic spirits they carry, whatever toxic energy they carry, whatever mental problems that they had going on mentally that had nothing to do with you, they always found a reason to try to take it out on you.
They some very sick people.
These people had hateful spirits. It was hateful. and you didn't deserve their hate. Now, you're looking at these people for what they are. Not worth your time or attention. Not worth your energy. Not worth anything.
Nothing. Ain't worth nothing. All they want is your money. That's all they want. Fuck you. They're in the church too, acting like they love you. They don't care about nobody but they self and that money. Oh, they act so saved, holy, and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. God is watching. That's all I got to say. I feel sorry for you. I really do. You sad.
You predicted it. You predicted it on this karmic energy. Like this person is with someone very toxic. You predicted it. Your person was toxic toward you, but you called this out. You did. You called this. You predicted it. You could have told this person that they're being manipulated, that you're not lying. It's almost like this person started to put you in a position where you would have to defend yourself somehow. It's like feeling like you were being attacked or accused of something. And see that whoever that other person is, they play both sides against each other. They could have worked through a friend of yours to tell you about your person. They could have gone to your person, told them stories about you, either directly or indirectly. You predicted this. You knew. You probably warned your person. You probably, like I said, it's almost like you were warning them, and inadvertently they may have warned you. However, this one played between you somehow and convinced your person that they should watch their back around you. And you called it. You probably predicted it. Yeah, it's that they're manipulating. That's that manipulative person who did this. You were right. They're manipulating. That's that manipulative person who did this. You were right. Spirit is telling you, you were right. And now this person could be recognizing that you were right. And they could be sitting here regretting someone was playing both ends against the middle. You may have had people coming around But they couldn't fool you. You predicted this. I'm telling you, whatever happened, you called it.
I did, didn't I? The one would listen. I'm stupid. He's mentally ill. He's mentally ill. Watch over Joji. He's mentally ill. Something is wrong with him.
Ooh, people are evil sometimes. Spirit. I'm so sorry. People can be so nasty. Ooh. Well, truth is out and you're on a new life. So you're loving you now. You've surrendered to the past. Do they want to come around again and mend things? Yep. But you're uncovering miracles. Something wonderful is emerging. You're discovering your own treasures. You've transformed. You've stepped into your power. It's a wonderful universe.
Shift out of that paradigm in order for them to, because you have to understand, these people go through, they hit a wall in these relationships and they can't function anymore. They literally, God makes it so, their spirit makes it so they cannot move forward or function anymore. And what happens is that they either die or they re-emerge. And a lot of them go through that, like they may go through a psychic break, a breakdown, a complete shift in personality that seems like they're sick mentally, like they're going through a psychotic episode. But what a lot of people fail to understand is that those people are actually finally being themselves. A lot of the time, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but a lot of the time, they're finally being themselves, that colorful character that they used to be, maybe when they were a kid, if they ever got a chance to be that. They're almost reverting, they're regaining all the years that were stolen from them due to this trauma and due to this maladaptive behavior. They are literally re-emerging as who they've always been. But for family, friends, and especially relational partners who benefited from that person making themselves small, will always believe, and some of them may even go to the extent where they are trying to decimate that person's reputation, saying that they've changed up, that they're abusive, that they're yada yada yada, whatever. It may be true, it may not be true, but it still doesn't erase the fact that that person is finally being themselves. And if who you meet them as is someone that is bright, colorful, themselves, unique, expressive, that's a good sign of someone who has boundaries and who is unafraid to express and hold them. And what usually ends up happening with people like that is they get accustomed to who they are, and spirit and the universe has to almost work with them, to change with them, because their change is so instantaneous. It is so quick, it's a quantum leap, what you've heard, quantum leap, that the universe has to almost keep up with them, where now the people that used to resonate in the old timeline may still show up. They may still keep showing up in their lives, and these people get a rhythm, a pattern of, it almost feels like these people are possessed. The people that are showing up are possessed, because this person is finally consciously seeing what they were in agreement with, whereas they weren't able to in the past. It was normal to them. But since they've gone through this quantum leap, they can finally see and observe, as a third party, them interacting with people and getting this download simultaneously as they're interacting, not delayed 2 days later, a year later, 5 years later after they lost all of themselves, but instantaneously. And these people are often going to cut people off without explanation. They're going to be in and out, very transient in people's lives. And this matrix is built such that people like that are easy to disrepute because people don't understand them. They don't understand what's driving them. They don't know if they're gonna be next. They don't know if they're allowed to be themselves with them. But this is a kind of person that becomes a test because they finally answered the call. They finally shed the personality that has been put on them to become, that has been imparted to them either by force, by coercion, by abuse, whatever, however it came about, through their family or their lineage or their circles. And they've shed that. And so until the universe begins to resonate on their frequency, or until their surroundings begin to change enough that they're finally seeing souls that reflect the inner change that they've done, there's going to be a lot of misunderstanding going around. There's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of even targeted instances where people immediately kind of switch up on a person like this and they treat them like they need to be handled. This is a person that's triggering people now. That's triggering people to go into an expedited shift because of what they've done, because we are all reflections and mirrors of each other at the end of the day. And if somebody's tapping into their shadow space and they're doing the work, they're in agreement, in conversation with their shadow, and they're existing from that deep place and expressing from that space, people have no choice, whether they're conscious or not, but to reflect their shadows as well. And usually what ends up happening is, if this kind of person doesn't just listen to their intuition and immediately disconnect from people, that they feel even an inkling of something isn't right, those people become portals for very parasitic energies that exist within their lineage, and even within this person's lineage, within your lineage, if you're resonating as the person, the protagonist, so to speak.
Is that a little bit too deep for you? Is that over your head? I hope it wasn't.
20 minutes now before 9 o'clock. Let me tell you about the Tire Center of Burlington. The Tire Center of Burlington. Jimmy Lewis invites you to come on by. I was in there this week. Great place to go. They got all the major brands of tires. If you need tires, the Tire Center of Burlington is the place to go. They've got all the brands you're looking for. Now, if you need one tire, you need a set of tires. So you need a fleet. You've got a fleet of vehicles that all need tires. They can do it at the Tire Center. They've got BF Goodrich, Michelin, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Goodyear, Pirelli, Firestone, Dunlop, Yokohama, Kelly, General, Toyo, Continental, Cooper, and many others. Those are just a few of the brands. So if you need tires, that's the place to go. Plus, complete automotive service, too, from belts and hoses and starters and clutches to tune-ups and towing and air conditioning service, radiator work, batteries, shocks and struts, brake service, alternators, timing belts, CV boots and axles, North Carolina inspections, oil, lube, and filter, and two-wheel and four-wheel alignments, four-wheel thrust alignments for 20-inch wheels and above. It's the Tire Center of Burlington. Tell them that you heard us talking about them on Talkline. Good morning, you're on Talkline.
Good morning, Harry. Hope your morning's going well.
Doing great, doing great.
Well, I don't know nothing, but don't they? you laugh, but I'm serious. What is wrong with people these days to get so upset about stuff? I know they took Uncle Ben off of rice, they took Aunt Jemima off of syrup, and hey, if I was a celebrity figure on the bottle, I would be a little ticked off, to pull my presents off of, something like that. But,
well, now the things that are going on with Cracker Barrel are different from Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima there are people that don't have sense enough to get in out of the rain who think somehow that the image of Uncle Ben or the image of Aunt Jemima were racist images. They were not. They were in their day. They were the just a shining star of where African Americans got some publicity. These two people were very famous folks, and it was absolute. There were a lot of people who were mad that they were on there because they were so racist and hatred back then. But they're on there, and they've been on there, and they took them off saying because it was racist when actually it wasn't. It was the actual opposite of that. Now, what's happening with Cracker Barrel is really basically very simple. It's not complicated at all. They've got new ownership, and they want to change some stuff, and the people don't like it. It's as simple as that, And it may be the end all of Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel has been a traditional kind of, on the highway place to stop for families, driving somewhere. And the new people that own it want to change it.
It didn't bother me because you ever heard of iron skillet?
Mm-hmm.
I pulled my antique iron skillet out today and put me some, battered me up some pork loin, and put it in there, fried it up. I didn't make no biscuits. I cheated today. I used what's called wops. You know what a wop is, don't you?
I do not.
Canned biscuits. You take the paper off of them and whop them on the counter.
Oh, okay, wops. Yeah, well, I've got some of those. I use them when I make a chicken pot pie. I use the biscuits that come in the little canister to make the dough for the bottom of them, not the top. I put a pie crust on the top.
Oh yeah, you're making me hungry now. I'm gonna come over to your house for lunch.
Well, I made some spaghetti last night, but I'm sorry, but I don't have any chicken pot pie for you. I make a mean chicken pot pie. I really do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. In the fire service, we learned about the iron skillets and all. You used them daily, and when you used them, you cleaned them out. We always put oil in them and wiped them down.
They have to be seasoned. You have to season an iron pot, and if you wash it, if you put it in, just start soaking it up and washing it like crazy, you take the seasoning out of it, and you got to start all over again. An iron skillet, the best thing to do is to wipe it out with a clean rag, just make sure that it's real clean, don't put any soap on it, and that sort of thing, and it stays seasoned longer.
Every one of the iron skillets I got, you can take and see yourself in them. That's how shiny they are.
Well, see, that's the way they're supposed to be. You obviously know how to cook in an iron skillet. I've been cooking in an iron skillet since I learned how to cook. My mother taught me how to cook over a camp stove, a Coleman camp stove with an iron skillet. I've been cooking since I was a little kid because I wanted to learn how to cook. She didn't make me. I just, I wanted to learn. I thought it was kind of fun, and I do most of the cooking at my house now.
Well, you can take and go to an antique auction and all. You can find the old pans with the number, the iron skillets with the number on the bottom of them. They're the old antique pans.
Well, let me tell you a funny story about iron skillets. Ben and I went up to Pennsylvania. Ben was my partner when we were setting up in Hillsville and places like that. And we went up to do some picking up in Pennsylvania. And the biggest size of skillet, I can't even tell you, number 14, number 16, I don't even know what the number is. I just don't remember. Yeah. But the biggest skillet you can buy in North Carolina sells, at the time we were there, this has been 15 years ago, it sells in North Carolina for about $40-50. Up there in Amish country, that same skillet that you paid $40 for over at maybe an antique auction, you could buy them all day for $40 or less. The big ones, $40, sold for $250 to $350. And if it was in real good condition, $400 up in Amish country. Same pan, no difference.
Well, that tells you what they're made of. All right, let me get off here and let somebody else in, but y'all have a good day.
Appreciate it. Take care. Iron Skillet. We're on Talk Line.
Good morning, Mr. Harry.
Hey there, how are you?
You're doing fine, sir. Thank you. I want to respond to yesterday's conversation about the wealth of various individuals, including former President Obama. And I'm speaking for myself this morning, but let me say I could care less care less about the wealth of any individual. I mean, if you have earned your money through hard work and you've not stolen from others, I say to you, may God continue to richly bless you, not only with monetary wealth, but with good health. I remember hearing someone make this statement or whatever, and it went something like this. Well, he's got too much money. Or, he don't need all that. He don't need all that. I'm going to tell you right now, I hear a little bit of socialism kind of stuff being inferred out of this or whatever. Because you see, my response to that kind of thing is this. How much is too much? How much is too much money? And of course, they can't answer the question. Now, as a Christian, operating a worldwide ministry, I want to emphasize some truths that we teach in work of ministries as related to this subject of money and wealth. Number one, God, I'm speaking of God, not Jim Hogsett. God has never placed a limit on how much money you should be able to earn. In fact, he clearly states he wants us to prosper and grow. Now, prosper doesn't mean just money. It can mean good health. It can mean having a healthy family. If President Obama or President Trump have earned their money in an ethical manner, God bless them. And let me insert this right now. If anyone is jealous of the wealth of another person has accumulated, you yourself have sinned, because you see the 10th commandment clearly says thou shalt not covet. We should be contented with what we have for the moment. I'm going to tell you, Mr. Harry, I don't believe I ever understood the real meaning, though, of contentment until I went to Kenya in 2016. I'm going to tell you one thing. Anybody who goes to Kenya and observes the poverty that is in that country, it'll make you ashamed of what you already have. And if someone desires more, well, go to work and earn it. Second lesson we teach in work of ministries about money and wealth. Never let it become your idol. And that means taking possessions and placing them above God. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a critical lesson, and especially for young people who think they're going to live forever. God clearly tells us we don't own anything. He owns it all. We're merely the caretakers, and we should be the manager of his resources and manage our money very carefully. Third lesson that we teach in work of ministries is one that should sound very familiar coming from me. I've stated this time and time again, that when that hearse taking my remains to that cemetery is going down that highway, there ain't going to be no Brinks truck behind the hearse. So you see, if I were speaking to former President Obama, I'll tell you exactly what I'd say. God bless you, sir. May you continue to excel in your wealth. And I'm going to tell you something, that also applies to one by the name of Donald Trump. Well, you wouldn't say that to him with all them billions. I don't care how much is there. What he's got in his bank account is his business. It ain't none of my business, and it's not the business of anybody else. Switching subjects this morning before I leave the program. Mr. Harry, last week you raised such a critical question related to the president's decision to bring in the National Guard troops to Washington. And based on the number of arrests that have been made, the question raised was this. How could anybody possibly be opposed to this based on the results taking place? Now, this is my opinion on who. I mean, who could possibly be opposed to this? I'll tell you exactly who. Those who have no respect for life, like those who endorse abortion. But you see, as long as it's not their loved one who's gunned down in Washington, to hell with the rest. That's the attitude. All you got to do is study the behavior, and you'll see that my assessment is correct. Now, get this, folks. Just yesterday, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced that arrests have blown past 1,000 as the nation's capital marked its 12th consecutive day without a homicide. And she said that on Sunday alone, 6 arrests, 10 illegal guns seized, bringing the total to 1,007 arrests and 111 guns taken off the street. And by the way, FBI Director Patel said that 26 of Sunday's arrests came from FBI operations, including drug seizures. Now, the Trump haters continue to say to you, though, crime is down. I'm getting just a little bit tired of that. It reminds me of when they've talked about under the Biden administration, inflation is down. Down from what, for God's sake? Down from 19% inflation? And you're going to tell me it's down in Washington, D.C.? Well, I'll tell you this. Washington had the 4th highest homicide rate in the country. Nearly 6 times higher than New York City and also higher than Atlanta and Chicago. That alone would tell you the justification for sending those troops in there. And I'll tell you this, if Washington, D.C. was a state, it would actually have the highest homicide rate of any state in the nation. Let me quickly close this morning by saying this. All of these statistics and all of these arguments mean nothing to a poor mother who's standing over the casket of her son, who's just been gunned down on a street in Washington, D.C. And as for the Trump haters, they could care less. Have a wonderful day. God bless you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you, too.
So you have to be aware of your surroundings all the time. I know I always say that I watch everybody. Well, I try to watch everybody. You know, you can't let your guard down, because if you do, something liable to happen. And you ain't much good if you can't help. You know, whatever the case might be. So, but I think going to Washington is a good thing. And I've been up there, I don't know how many Rolling Thunder rides I did, going up there with all the rest of the bike riders. And, you know, most of it's military riders anyway. And a lot of it ain't. But, you know, that was a good experience to do. I might do it again, before it's all said and done. But, you know, everybody should want to go up there to see what the Capitol looks like. You know, if I hadn't went up there on the Military Day parade up there, and it just happened to be Trump's birthday, if I hadn't went up there, I wouldn't have run into Marjorie Taylor Greene when she was jogging. And she stopped, we talked, I had my picture taken with her, and she went on, you know. So, you know, stuff like that happens, but if you ain't there, nothing happens. You might say. There's no memories there other than just what you're looking around at. So, you know, it's a good experience to go to Washington, D.C., and it should be safe. And you shouldn't have to worry about what's behind you all the time. And that's what they're trying to straighten out up there. You know, Jensen talked about it. Everything he said is, I could see was true, you know.
Well, anybody who's been there, you know, in modern times, see, I used to go to Washington all the time. I'd go speak to my FCC attorney in person, and so I would be in Washington and stop and talk to him. And I love the Smithsonian, love the Air and Space Museum, and all those museums up there. They got one of the Stradivarius violins that's so wonderful in there. I love all that stuff up there. But since, you know, I haven't been up there in 30 years or more. And the thing is, it's just become, back then it wasn't dangerous, now it is. It's dangerous. And the people that live there, even the ones that hate Trump, will tell you, nobody went out at night if they had to go more than 2 or 3 blocks. Or if they went out at night, they ordered a car or a taxi or whatever you get. They just did not want to go. And now they're saying it is safe right now. Now, how long will that last? I don't know.
Any politician, it don't matter which side of the road you're on, any politician is against cleaning up the drugs and the crime that's in the city that you live in. He or she, they have a problem. They've got a serious problem.
Well, see, they tell you that they want to clean up the crime. They just don't think that bringing in the military, you know, the National Guard, is a good idea. And you go, okay, well, what are you going to do? You know, look, I'll say there may be a better way if you don't use the National Guard. But who are you gonna use?
Who is the National Guard there? Who are them people?
They're citizens.
Or American citizens.
Right.
The National Guard is Americans just like everybody else. Now, they just happen to be in the military, and they still in training, and they're fine, outstanding people. You know.
I mean, I can't imagine being afraid, if I were in Washington, D.C., being afraid of the National Guard. That's why I'm saying, why would anybody think that it would be a bad idea to make a place like Washington, D.C. safer?
Right.
What they're saying is, well, we're not upset about making it safer. We want to be safer. We just don't want the National Guard to do it. Well, who do you want to do it then?
Right. If the mayor of Chicago, now you listen to him talk, or the governor, or whoever he is, that guy.
Pritzker.
When you listen to him talk, Harry, he acts like that what Trump's doing is a crime.
Yeah. Listen. He's running for president, and he hates Trump. Those two things. So I've heard him. I heard him yesterday. I listened to him, and I did it purposefully. I wanted to hear what the different ABC, NBC, CBS, News Nation, Fox, and CNN and MSNBC. I wanted to see Pritzker on all of those channels and see what he was saying. I wanted to hear what he was saying. And on different channels, he says different things, because they pick out different things for him to say.
Well, if he opens his mouth, he's lying.
Well, when he opens his mouth, I know immediately that he's running for president and that he doesn't like Trump. But the thing is, look, some of the things that he's saying are absolutely against what the very people that he wants to vote for him as president or governor or whatever, what they think. He is speaking against law and order in some cases. Now, he doesn't think that he is, but he is. I mean, I heard him.
Now listen, here's the thing. The mayor of Chicago, they act like that they got this plan going on. Unless you've been to Chicago, you can't understand what's going on. Yeah. You got to go downtown, walk the street, and along the ocean. When I went into Chicago that day, being the family, and along the ocean, the lakefront out there, around, it's all sandy and pretty. I didn't see nobody. It was a beautiful day. I didn't see nobody out there running on the beach, or the ocean, or the lakefront sand out there. I didn't see nobody running around, and you do a pretty long drive when you go by Soldier Field. You're still out there on the edge of the lake to get on over to Wrigley Field downtown.
Yeah.
But that side of Chicago is really nice.
Well, then when they want to tell you, when the mayor, and this is what he said yesterday, he said he was showing the place that you're talking about where it's where it's nice, and everything. But not talking about South Side. He's not showing you where the murders are, where the hatefulness is going on.
No.
And that's what needs to be fixed. And he's trying to tell you that things are okay because it looks good right here. And that's just ridiculous. And I cannot understand, even if you hate Trump, why you wouldn't let him help you keep people from murdering folks in your city. It just makes sense.
Because it would take money away from them that they got control of, and they don't like it.
Yeah, all right, appreciate it. Listen, thanks a lot. Brother. Take care. 222-9224. Now, there is something that will fix it. The presence of National Guardsmen, even when they didn't have any firearms, cut down on the amount of crime. Why wouldn't you want to do that? If that helps, why wouldn't you want to do it? If it's offered to you as help and it doesn't cost you anything, why wouldn't you want to do it? Well, it's for political reasons. I don't want my political opponent getting any brownie points in my city. You know, that's part of it. It has to be, or they wouldn't be doing this. You know, if you can help keep people from being beaten up, raped, murdered, and robbed by the presence of National Guard troops, why wouldn't you want to do that? It just doesn't. I just don't see it. And you know, these people are saying that he's trying to be a dictator by putting the no. He's trying to calm the evil, trying to bring down the evil. And I don't see it. I mean, you know, if a president, if Biden was trying to do the same thing, I wouldn't be fussing about it. If it was bringing down the crime, I would be all for it. I don't care who does it. It's not political with me. I just don't get it. You know, that you're trying to make law and order political, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Democrat Party is now in almost 40 years, as far as approval is concerned, because somehow they think fixing people that are doing evil things is somehow bad. You come up with a way to do it, and they don't want to do it. It's just it just boggles the mind to me. You know, and I have to take a step back and say, look, if it was somebody that I didn't particularly care for politically, who was doing this in Washington, D.C., like, for example, Biden, I didn't think he was a very good president. If he was doing it, would I think it was a good idea? Absolutely yes. If you keep people from being murdered, robbed, raped, and all those things by the presence of National Guard, I'm all for it. 222-9224.
Good morning, Ahab.
I'm doing well. I hope you are.
Yeah, doing good. And busy lately. You know, the situation in this city is this. Some of these areas that we're talking about, Southside Chicago, Harlem, you know, the point is this. They really think that if they go into those areas, it's the police in Southside Chicago don't even go in there unless it's already a crime committed, you know, a murder. But there's not patrolling in there, and they won't go in there because they're scared. And you know, the point is that if you go in there and try to clean up the South Side of Chicago, then all you're going to hear is that we're targeting a group of racial people, of racial category, whether it's Hispanic or black or whatever. We're targeting that group. So now you're racist. And you know, that's the whole problem. And that's why the mayor in Chicago is so against this.
But just remember something, and I think, and you may know this, and a lot of people don't. The mayor of Chicago's approval rating is abysmal. You know, he's up there saying that he doesn't want, you know, the National Guard in there or anything like that. He has a 16% approval rating. So people are not listening to him. They really aren't, because they think he's not helping.
Well, if it's got to look at how many people live in those areas, like we're talking high crime areas, and you know, maybe he thinks he can get, you know, he's getting their votes because he's letting crime go on in there just on a daily basis. You know, it's like these other cities, and what'll happen is if you go into Chicago, clean it up, the criminals are going to move somewhere else. Yeah, and they're going to keep, like the Washington, D.C., those criminals will be, you know, if you do it long enough, they'll move to another area like Chicago. And if you clean it up, then they'll move to another state that allows it, and they'll just keep moving. And they'll move. They'll end up in about, you know, a couple of big states. They'll end up hopefully all of California. And, you know, that's where all of it will go on.
Well, perhaps what we need to do then is clean up these areas, and instead of letting them move on, arrest them, put them on trial, and if they're convicted, put them in jail, and then they won't have any place to move other than to the penitentiary.
Well, but the corruptness in these big cities, you know, this drug I mean, you don't know what's going on. I mean, money could be coming out of there, paid to given to the politicians. You know, it's so corrupt. And put National Guard, that's a temporary fix because, you know, unless you put them on active duty, you know, these folks are losing, you know, they have jobs and families. They're converting from a regular job salary to a military salary. And, you know, they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid by the company, and the company will allow them to come back. They're not getting paid their wages that the company they work for, they're getting paid their military wage. So they can't hang out there for so long unless they activate them. And if they activate
Well,
them,
I think you're absolutely correct. The National Guard is a temporary fix, but here's the deal. You see the National Guard go into Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden the crime goes down. Well,
right.
we can do that same activity in other ways without using the National Guard. We now know that the presence of people that are there to keep evil stuff from going on helps, works, and it can fix the problem. So let's figure out how we can get people who can be there and be a permanent fix. We know the temporary works.
yeah, I'd almost say that you take police officers and dress them like National Guard, okay? Not put the emblems on them, but dress them in those kind of fatigues and you know, M16s, the whole deal, because they're allowed to carry those kind of weapons. And you put them out there, and they're just regular police officers. Because the people don't, you know, these criminals don't know the difference. You know, they don't know who that is under that uniform. And you know, and then just gradually phase that National Guard back out into their communities. And then the people that are police officers would see just that, I'm telling you, when you roll around in there with a bunch of people getting out in, you know, military uniform type uniforms, that just all of a sudden it stops. I mean, I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. You know, big mess on in a city, and all of a sudden you send the National Guard in, and it just stops.
Right. But yeah. Like you said, though, that's a temporary fix. The real fix is you understand that what the National Guard is presence. You've described it. You know, the police could be more like the National Guard. That's a possibility. But if you just have patrols, like you said, in the south side of Chicago, the police don't go in there. They don't patrol. It's too dangerous. Well, what we have to do is let's put a stop to that. Let's say, okay, we're going patrol, and I think the best way to do that to begin with would be with the National Guard. It would be temporary. Bring them in there. But what you do is you enforce the law. You show that the presence of the police are there, and they're doing law and order. They're not bad. They're good. They're doing all that. They're helping you. They're making things better. And then when you arrest somebody, dadgummit, if you put them on trial and they are convicted, don't turn them loose. Put them in jail. That's the way to fix these things. The problem is we have just gone away from crime and punishment, and we've tried to figure out a way to deal with in the way they do it in Chicago. Yes, sir. How are you?
Okay.
I missed your birthday. I was going to wish you a happy birthday, but I didn't hear you call, so belated happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Look, let me say this. I've never thought Barry was too bright when it comes to things like law enforcement, but today he made the dumbest statement that I've ever heard him make. All you got to do is change the uniforms of police officers, put them in fatigues, and crimes will automatically go down. Well, corrupt does not care what you wear. That's no different. If he's going to rob a store, he don't care. That is just plain dumb. And since the founding of this country, We have never had military to patrol cities. It's not the job of National Guard, Army, Air Force, Marine to fight crimes in cities. We have police. There's a police on every corner. We have every municipality can win the next election. There is always going to be crime. Wherever there are people, it's going to be crime. All kinds of crime. We got what they call white-collar crimes, where people are stealing, embezzling. We have murders. We have rapes. We have people sodomizing children. We have people raping little boys. Even the priests in the church are committing crimes. Little children. The Catholic Church, how are you going to clean that up? With military and uniforms? You're going to put uniforms on the priests or something? They're the ones committing the crime. How are you going to fight that kind of crime? The type of uniform you wear is not going to do anything for crime. And he said that people are not smart. He said the crooks are not smart enough to know the difference. I beg to differ. You have corrupt police departments, and there's corruption in the military. There's corruption in the top. The commander-in-chief is a crook. There is no way. First of all, crime is where it should be. And I heard you say you need to lock people up. You can't, what you going to do, put the whole population in jail?
No, just the crew.
You got to let them out at some point. At some point, you got to let these people out. We are not rehabilitating anybody who go to jail. We just throw them in jail for punishment. When they get out, you got to let these people out. And we're going to pay the military, lock the people up in jail. We're going to have a military state. We're going to have a police state. That's just plain dumb. And one thing Donald Trump did is he pulled the cover off of all the phonies, the constitutional phonies. He pulled the cover off them all. And when Ben Franklin told that woman that we had a constitutional republic, if we can keep it, he knew way back then how weak the people can be. And we are at that point where we are going to lose our democracy. We're at that point. And we see people who claim they're strict constitutionalists under the Democratic administrations. Now they forgot about the Constitution. They don't even mention it anymore. They're following Donald Trump. Donald Trump has no regard for the Constitution or the rights of the citizens. And I always hear Barry talking about being scary. This is scary. That is scary. Well, what Donald Trump doing is scary. And it's not Donald Trump so much as the weak-minded, pigeon-livered Congress, the lawmakers. Look what they're doing in Texas. That's absolutely unconstitutional. And I know what the people are going to say. Yeah, well, the Democrats do gerrymander too. But listen, they went by the rules that after each census count, they redraw the map. Donald Trump, and look, the people in Texas are standing up, saying we know this is not right, but we are afraid we're going to lose the midterms, and that's going to be bad for America. What they mean to say is going to be bad for Republicans. And they're going to change all the things that Trump put in
Trump used executive orders to change. They know the Congress is going to turn these things around, because some of the things they're changing, Congress should be in charge anyway. Congress has no power with Trump. And you look at this. And I heard somebody talking about his cabinet. You just look at his cabinet. I heard somebody talking about Trump chose bad people in his first administration. Trump chose men in his first administration who were not yes men. They were men with principles who stood on their own 2 feet and did not bow to Trump. But now, Trump looks at his cabinet when they're standing around him. They're nothing but pigeon-livered weaklings. I've never seen anything like it. Trump picked people who are going to say yes to him. Cash Patel, Christy Nome, Pam Bondi. These are some of the weak, and Pete Hegseth. These are people who wouldn't qualify to catch dogs. And the country's going to hell in a handbasket. And you've got Republicans who are so dumb, and listen, bring it on when I hang up, bring it on. I don't care what you say. We got Republicans who are so weak, they think they're a dictator. They believe that when certain people lose their rights, they don't lose their rights. If the First Amendment rights are taken away from one, they're taken away from everybody.
Exactly. All right. Appreciate it. Go ahead. You can finish.
Okay. Yeah, well, look, when you take away the rights of one person, you also lose your rights.
Absolutely.
Somebody might say, well, I don't do those things anyway. Oh, yes, that's not the point. If you decided to do it or want to do it, if your grandchildren want to do it, they've lost the rights. And that's what the scary part comes in.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. 222-9224. If you take away the rights of these people, you've taken away the rights of everybody. And if you don't think that's true, you're a fool, because that's what happened. But the differences that we have, you know, for example, he was saying that what Texas is doing is unconstitutional. No, it isn't. Not unconstitutional at all. The Constitution says that you redraw the lines after a census. It doesn't say right after, or 2 days after, or a week after, or a year after. It doesn't say when. It says you must do the census and then you redistrict after the census. Doesn't give a timeline. So what Texas did is not unconstitutional, and it's the same. You know, Charlie said that this is what we're going to say, and that's exactly right. You know, if you want to know what is and isn't constitutional, go back and look at what the Democrats have been doing as far as gerrymandering is concerned, as well as the Republicans. Look, it's not just Democrats or just Republicans. The Democrats have been much better at it, and they've gerrymandered so much that there's not much left to gerrymander. Now, the Republicans have been less efficient at gerrymandering than the Democrats have. They haven't done a very good job of it, so they've got some places where they can gerrymander. Now, I am against political division of districts within states. I think that's wrong. Gerrymandering is wrong. If you're going to change what the Constitution says, it doesn't say based on politics, it says based on population. When there's a census, you need to change the district lines based on population, not politics. That's a modern thing. Politics say, you know, if we're going to change the lines, let's see if we can move the line a little bit and get more Democrats in, or move the line a little bit and get more Republicans in. That's what gerrymandering is. And it actually is against the law. And we need to enforce that. That's something that needs to be done. And nobody's going to like it. No politician's going to like it, because that's not what they like. There's plenty of corruption out there. There's always been corruption, but here's the deal. The President of the United States has control over the Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. And he has made an observation. He says, if we put the presence of more law enforcement on the streets, crime will go down. And he's proven that that's exactly right. Now, there are other cities that don't want the National Guard there, okay. But he's shown you what you need to do to get crime to come down. Have a presence of law enforcement. That's how you do it. And it's not, you don't defund the police. What you do is you require police officers to patrol. Certainly can ride in the car, but you got to patrol. You got to be seen. The more times you're seen, the less crime there is. That's the way it works, and they've proven that in Washington, D.C. in a temporary manner, in an emergency situation. Now, if Congress passes it, they can keep them there a little bit longer. But the thing is, we now know how to reduce crime.
Hey, Harry, how you doing?
I am well. I hope you are.
I'm doing fine. Thank God for Charlie. What he was saying was right. But what I want to ask you is, Donald Trump, well, not him, the Republicans wants to put his face on Mount Rushmore. And the people are saying, if they do that, then it's going to, they already got a big gap in the ones, behind the ones that's on Mount Rushmore, and it's going to cause a problem. And why is it that where the National Guards are, it's in places where there are, the governors is black? Why is that? And then Chicago says that they ain't got no killings and going on. Trump claims it's about 2,000 killings, but if it is, I ain't heard it. So somebody's telling a D-lie. And then they was talking about crime. You ain't gonna never get rid of crime. You just had a robbing over here on Church Street. The cleaners robbed it.
About that.
And going on. And speeding, you was talking about speeding. If these police would get out there and do their jobs and start giving these people tickets, then you wouldn't have all these wrecks and going on. And when they see that they out there patrolling like they should, then the speeding will slow down. I go to the flea market in Eden a lot, and I know better than to go down through there flying, because they'll come out anywhere and pull state troopers and pull you over and give you some tickets. And then you're talking about murders and stuff. You got murders now that done kill black people, but they ain't done nothing to them. And Trump talking about, they talking about one time him pardoning the one that killed George Floyd. Well, what about the ones that shot the black gal in her bed? They ain't done nothing about that. So these people know right from wrong, and what they're doing is wrong. And we just live, like Charlie said, we just living in sad, sad times, and it ain't gonna get no better, and crime sure ain't gonna get no better, because you can't stop no crime, because people got to live one way or another, and if it's stealing to get what they want, then that's exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah, well,
so you have a good day.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, nobody's going to put Trump's face on Mount Rushmore. That's conspiracy. Nobody's doing that. It's not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about it. It just, to put more people on the street. That's how you do it. They were down 900 police officers. Now they've got the National Guard, and crime goes down. That speaks volumes. 60 on Talk Line. All right, 222-9224. Join in the conversation. Let me tell you about what I was talking about them on Talk Line. All right, 222-9224. You know, these crime-ridden cities are really not crime-ridden. It's just that people are afraid they are. There's no crime. They're just afraid that there is. So it's all your fault. And the thing is, I heard somebody say this. This was somebody who was talking about crime. They said, yeah, in some of the 20 largest cities in the United States, crime is down, but it's like the difference between 300 murders and 275 murders. That's how it's down. The violent crime is down, but it's still extremely violent, and so people are having a hard time with that. Let me tell you about the folks.
Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good-paying job. You know nothing.
Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program is supposed to supplement. It's not supposed to be a full meal 3 times a week, 7 days a week, 3 times a day, 7 days a week. It is supposed to be a life vest and not a lifestyle. And there have been abuses in the system. There are facts out there that I have seen. Even the Secretary of Ag, Vilsack, testified before our committee and the Ag Committee that there's $34 million a day in waste, abuse, and fraud in the system.
Great-great-grandfather helped open this university. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you because I have emailed you because it's easier for me than to try to talk on the phone without profanity. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get to Trump out of office. And get to Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. He knows nothing about what he talks about. I listened to him for about a half hour today, and I got sick at all the lies he brought up. Now, I'm about ready to lose my farm. Do you know why? I'm sure you don't know why.
Lose your what, sir?
Farm.
Farm?
Yeah.
Why is that, sir?
Because Missouri does not have wills. They have trust. They have legal zigzags. And a trust, most people don't know anything about. So I'm dealing with a state that's a crooked state, doesn't care about what farmers happen. The only reason why we have farmers today is because the federal government funds them. How much money of our tax money goes to farmers? Farmers work very hard, but they're funded by the federal government, not by selling groceries. That's what Foster Farms and all of those characters, that's where they get their money. The price of steaks, $20 a pound, because of big business. You want to straighten out the budget? Start taxing corporations and the wealthy, like we've been telling you. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good paying job. You know nothing about what a working class citizen does. Come down here. Come down here and start trying to pay your medical insurance. Come down here and walk into Costco to try to feed your family, to feed your kid that's moved out, to feed your great-grandchildren. I had a very good job in California, and I'm able to feed my family, and it goes all the way to great-grandchildren. You're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.
I just wondered if you had shared with President Trump that Vladimir Putin was the aggressor, because he keeps saying that Ukraine did it, and we all saw what happened, but he continually lies and lies and lies.
I've never heard President Trump, maybe you have that on file, I've never heard him say that Zelensky was the aggressor in this. Did he say that? I don't believe he has. I don't have a close personal relationship with President Trump where I can go in the Oval Office and say, look, President, I hope you know that that Vladimir Putin is the aggressor in this. I think the world knows who is at fault in this, and that he can't have another apple in his cart, so to speak, that we have got to push back against Vladimir Putin. Now, you may not agree with how President Trump is going about this negotiation process, and I understand that. But I have never seen 6 European world leaders come to the White House in my lifetime, and I'll be 62. I don't know, has anyone else seen that? So they came here, they voiced their concern. There's a concerted effort between the European countries to provide some security guarantees for Ukraine outside of NATO, because we can't let Ukraine become part of NATO, because that would mean an instant strike or a threat of strike from Vladimir Putin. We should have in 2014 pushed back against Vladimir Putin very hard when he took over Crimea. We didn't do it. And that is another part of the mistake. Again, the rearview mirror, but let's look through the windshield.
Comments, which you don't have to respond to, but I'm going to. You talked about abuses in the Medicare and Medicaid system. I found it interesting that the president pardoned someone who defrauded the Medicaid system for about $1.3 billion. I find that curious. I found it interesting that the president pardoned someone who defrauded the Medicaid system for about $1.3 billion. I find that curious.
Letting him get by with unconstitutional items such as armor.
All right, Fred, we're going to give the mic to somebody. Where's the mic? But I do want to answer this because Fred brings up an important point that I knew we would get to tonight, and that is the National Guard. You've seen on the news what's been happening. This started in California when Immigration Custom Enforcement was sent into California. ICE, yes sir, ICE, that's what it stands for. Immigration Custom Enforcement was sent into California to arrest and deport, eventually through Homeland Security, criminal illegal aliens. And so they were, that's what they did. And others who are here illegal, other illegal aliens. Primarily it started out with criminal illegal aliens. But look, Joe Biden has let 12 million illegal aliens into our sovereign nation. I think putting a lot of strain on our services for Medicaid and for Medicare. And so we've got to make sure, and healthcare and other services, we've got to make sure that if you're here illegally and Homeland Security has given these individuals a chance to go back and do it the right way. Go wait in line.
Next up, Alford says, look, at the end of the day, we just had to deal with immigration reform. We had to fix the hole in the boat, and Donald Trump is fixing the hole in the boat right here. That's why we're going after these immigrants. And he tries to make it seem like they're going after criminals when we all know they're going after just hardworking people. But play this clip.
We don't have all those yet, but we do have, for the most part, a secure border. We can't start working, and we could not start working on immigration reform until we fix the hole in the boat. And that's what Donald Trump did. He fixed the hole in the boat. And so now we can start looking at some of these programs.
And, you know, Cubs, man, hey, congratulations. Congratulations. Temperance energy, Earth Angel, my love. They're extremely burdened over you and how they did you. The Hangman, somebody could be stuck. You know, for how they did an Earth Angel. How they did this Earth Angel has them at the Ten of Wands, really stressed out. Like, what the hell? I didn't know. I thought they didn't just shit on the Earth Angel, they shit on the High Priestess. You thought that was going to be okay? Oh, now they want to go a different way. Somebody want to go a different way. I'm tired of all this fighting and carrying on. I give up. I ain't working against you no more. I ain't telling lies on you no more. I want to invest in you now. I'm walking away from that karmic hussy. I promise. I'm coming right to you. You over there, you know, loaded and fine, and you got your guards up. 7 of Wands. You got your guards up. Like, well, what do you want? Who sent you? King of Pentacles reverse. This is somebody that's taking a financial loss. They're broke. They're greedy. You block communication with this person. This is somebody you don't talk to. But, you know, in true karmic nature, they're refusing to pray. It's not over till I see it's over. Somebody could be a family. For somebody, it's a family member. That King of Pentacles reverse is that Emperor reverse. For somebody, it's a family member. They feel like, you know, you can't block me. I'm your father. I'm your mother. You gotta speak to me. No, the fuck I don't. No, I don't. No, you don't, beloved. I feel like the devil reverse. You release the devil. The devil is a liar. Page of Swords reverse. The devil is a lie. And you release that. Yeah, I rebuke it in the mighty name of Jesus. Get your weird ass on. Going on now. Gone. Looking out towards your future. I feel like somebody's under negative judgment. And they don't have nothing to do with you, beloved. They got nothing to do with you. Shit. Carry on. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Chosen, that you on your own. Ain't nobody coming to save you but God. Understand, man. It seems like we willing to go through the fire, the storm, and the rain with people, man. We there for everybody's beck and call. People know, amen, if they need anything, they can call on us and we're going to be there. 100%. But then again, they'll turn around and they'll let you go through your fire, your storm, and your rain all by yourself. Seems like every time you go through a storm, every time you go through some trouble, you can't depend on nobody. You can't call on nobody. You know why? Because 9 times out of 10, people rather see you struggle than see you succeed. 9 times out of 10, people rather see you miserable. They'd rather see you toxic. They'd rather see you bitter than better, believe it or not. And people wonder why we are the most blessed and highly favored. Because we always put people's needs before our needs. Do you understand what I'm getting ready to say? It's because we are the solution and we are the answer to everybody's problem. And it's okay. We don't mind helping people because this is what God has called us to do. This is our assignment, to help people that are in need, to pray for those, amen, that are in need. But what happens when the chosen one breaks down? What happens when the chosen one needs prayer, or when the chosen one just needs some advice, or when the chosen one, amen, really needs somebody that's going to ride with them, that's going to really slide with them? Ain't nobody never really around. You finding yourself licking your own wounds, and you finding yourself healing your own scars, and you finding yourself praying, amen, yourself out of your own situation. Sometimes, I'm here to tell you right now, you got to encourage yourself. You can't depend on somebody to encourage you and to motivate you and to uplift you, chosen, because guess what? It ain't in them to do that for you. They're not equipped enough to go with you to this next level. You can't depend on somebody to encourage you and to motivate you and to uplift you, chosen, because guess what? It ain't in them to do that for you. They're not equipped enough to go with you to this next level. And you wonder why God only handpicked you and chose you to go to this next level. Because guess what? You always go through your storms by yourself, man. You always going through that fire by yourself. You went through that fiery furnace and you came out unburnt. Do you understand what I'm saying? You went, amen, through the storm, and guess what? You still came out of that storm dry. Do you understand what I'm saying? But when somebody need help, and when somebody really need, amen, some prayer, or when somebody, amen, just needs some advice, the chosen ones is always there, and I've noticed that. But you ain't got to worry about anything, chosen ones. Because God gonna always have a ram in the bush for you.
Someone who wronged you is in big trouble. There comes a moment in life when the very people who tried to break you, the ones who thought they could walk over your kindness and bury your worth, find themselves facing a storm they never saw coming. Someone who wronged you is in big trouble. Someone who wronged you is in big trouble. You see, when someone wrongs you, it may look like they've won for a season. It may feel like you were left empty-handed. But what they don't realize is that life has a way of circling back. Trouble always finds its way home. The lies they told, the pain they caused, the betrayal they planted, it all comes with a price. And while they sit in the shadow of their own choices, you must understand this. You don't need to lift a hand for revenge. The battle was never yours. Justice is already moving. The one who wronged you is in big trouble, and the best part is, you don't even have to watch it unfold. All you have to do is keep rising.
Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. A whole group gathers behind closed doors, whispering in corners, tossing out plans like cards on a table, believing they found a way to break you. They think their strategy is foolproof, their numbers unshakable, their unity enough to crush you. But here's the twist that shakes their core. The universe has already turned the tables before they even made their move. Their so-called attack didn't just miss, it ricocheted, and now they're the ones choking on the smoke of their own fire. Here's a fact that screams you are absolutely right. Every time history records a collective attack on someone who was underestimated, the attackers end up destroying themselves. Here's a fact that screams you are absolutely right. Every time history records a collective attack on someone who was underestimated, the attackers end up destroying themselves. Every time history records a collective attack on someone who was underestimated, the attackers end up destroying themselves. Every time history records a collective attack on someone who was underestimated, the attackers end up destroying themselves. Every time history records a collective attack on someone who was underestimated, the attackers end up destroying themselves. The Spanish Inquisition, the witch trials, the smear campaigns that brought down their own architects, all of them thought they were too clever, too powerful, too united. But here's the truth. The universe always places a mirror in front of malice. It doesn't matter how loud the mob is, lies eventually collapse under their own weight. That's exactly what's happening with your enemies right now. The bad news that landed in their lap, you outsmarted their spiritual ambush before it even had the chance to breathe. And thank you, chosen one. But here's the truth. The universe always places a mirror in front of malice. It doesn't matter how loud the mob is, lies eventually collapse under their own weight. That's exactly what's happening with your enemies right now. The bad news that landed in their lap, you outsmarted their spiritual ambush.
It doesn't matter how loud the mob is, lies eventually collapse under their own weight. That's exactly what's happening with your enemies right now. The bad news that landed in their lap, you outsmarted their spiritual ambush. You outsmarted their spiritual ambush. You outsmarted their spiritual ambush. You are part of something bigger, a force that moves through us all, and your presence here matters. You are part of something bigger, a force that moves through us all, and your presence here matters. Now, let's return to what really matters. The news your enemies just received is not just a loss, it's humiliation. They thought you were easy prey, but in their arrogance, they overlooked the fact that you've already grown sharper, stronger, and untouchable. Think of it like chess. While they were celebrating a clever move, they didn't notice you had already checkmated them 3 turns earlier. They underestimated your patience, your insight, your resilience. That's why their bad news is hitting so hard. They never expected you to rise from their trap with your head high and your path clearer than ever. The truth is, Chosen One, they didn't just lose, they exposed themselves. They never expected you to rise from their trap with your head high and your path clearer than ever. The truth is, Chosen One, they didn't just lose, they exposed themselves. The truth is, Chosen One, they didn't just lose, they exposed themselves. They didn't just lose, they exposed themselves. Now looks foolish, scrambling to cover the cracks, whispering excuses to each other. What was supposed to be their triumph has become their disgrace. And the universe, in its perfect timing, let them taste the bitterness of their own schemes, whispering excuses to each other. What was supposed to be their triumph has become their disgrace. And the universe, in its perfect timing, let them taste the bitterness of their own schemes.
You abandoned me, I don't live here anymore. Just a vacancy, I don't live here anymore. When you lived inside of me, there was nothing I could conceive that you would do for
awaits you.